Welcome back to Music City Model Works. I just got finished scribing and highlighting the panel lines on the 67 Chevelle for the Chevy Cheeseburger tribute build, and I thought I was doing a tutorial on doing that, and I look over at my camera about 3/4 of the way through, and my lens has closed up, and my battery was dead. So I did all that, and I must say did a very nice job, may I add. Made some rather witty comments, I thought. So, and was all for naught. And on top of that, I now have the panels highlighted, the panel lines highlighted. But anyway, I'll go back and touch on a couple of things that I said when I thought I was actually doing the video, and I'll show you kind of how I do it just in general. And I'm still kind of zoomed in. So one of the things that I had said before I started doing the panel lines is that one of the things that I notice about doing about panel lines in general, when I look at models, whether it be here on YouTube or whether it be in a one of the publications, one of the magazine publications, online or the actual hard copy magazine itself, I have noticed some panel lines, and it seems to be more and more of a trend. I don't know if it's because we're more aware of it now. That when I was, growing up as a late teen, early 20s, I didn't give a damn about a panel line. All I wanted to do was get the body on the car. I had the motor in. I wanted to get the body on the car. I wanted to get it painted and be done with it. We were about get them built quick, put a nice paint job. We all wanted to do the painting. That's what it was all about. The rest of it was just kind of an afterthought, and we really didn't care about whether you can see the door panels or whatever, the door lines or the trunk lines, and whatever. But now it seems like that's become a pretty big thing with model builders, and to the point that I think some of them have gotten to the point to where they're exaggerated. One of the things you have to remember about panel lines or anything else, everything we do, not just panel lines, but everything we do when it comes to this hobby involves scale. Everything, whether it be your aftermarket engine products, whether it be the tires and wheels that you select for your car or truck, if that's what you're building. I'm not a sci-fi builder, but I would, the same thing applies there, I'm sure. Of course, they're trying to replicate something that has scale to it. You don't want 1/16th or 1/24th figures in a 1/48th scale spaceship. You don't want a 1/48th scale B-17 Flying Fortress in a diorama with 1/24 scale people. I mean, it doesn't look right. So, having said that, I have seen some panel lines, and when you first look at them, you look at them and you say, "Wow, man, those door panels stand out." Or those, that hood sticks out, stands out, or really pops, or whatever. And the more you get to looking at it, you think, something's just not right about that. There's something that my vehicle doesn't look like that for some reason. I can't just quite put my finger on it. And the longer you look at it, you get to thinking, well, hey, my the panel lines, around my door are not that wide. The panel lines on my vehicle are not that black looking, not that dark. And I've done this. I've gone back to what a couple of times in other videos to what the late Bob Ross, the painter, used to say. My wife used to watch him every Saturday up until last year or so. He used to say that he would be painting and he would say, we're going to try to create the illusion of, and then, fill in the blank, the illusion of shadow, the illusion of this, or the illusion of, whatever, of water rippling or whatever. And it used to just fascinate me. The guy could, on a flat canvas, could come in there and put detail on a mountain to where it looked like it was three-dimensional. And he did that by using dark shades of the original color of whatever, like the snow on a mountain. He would drop the snow in on the mountain, and then he would, on one side of the mountain, he would have, the light coming from one direction, then he would have the shadows, on the other side of the mountain. He would take the snow color, he would mix in some blue to give it, a kind of a darker look, a shadow color, and he would do half the mountain in the blue. And all of a sudden, right there in front of your eyes, a flat mountain on a flat canvas almost looked like it was just, it was shooting off the canvas at you in three-dimensional. So that's what we're doing here when we're doing panel lines. All we're doing is we're creating the illusion of a shadow. We are highlighting the dark areas that around the door and around the trunk that our eyes follow. And when you go and open your door, inside of, unless you're driving a black car, your door jambs are not black. If you're driving a dark red car, your door jambs are dark red. They're not black, unless somebody's painted them black for you, or you've painted them black for some reason. All this is shadow color. So when we do panel lines, let's keep that in mind, that all we're doing is we're trying to accent something that the kit manufacturer didn't really do that good a job of to start with. Now, having said that, there are some kits out there that the door panels and the trunk panels are scribed in pretty nice. They will cut in, they do have enough channel in them to where you can work pretty comfortably in there, and you can, and what I do, and all I do, is I start with my hobby knife, and I just gradually take the back side of it, and I just start barely scraping, lightly scraping. You don't want to push down hard, and you don't want to do it quickly. You want to do it slowly, because if you come out of the channel, and like I said, some of the channels in these door panels and trunk panels are very shallow. If you go too fast, you'll come out, and guess what? You'll run your knife down, a spot that long, or whatever, on the side of your car that you're going to have to do something with. You're going to have to sand it down, or whatever, or worse, maybe even put some filler in and then sand it down. So you want to be careful. And what I do, not only do I use my hobby knife, I have some scribing tools, which are AKA dentist tools. What the dentist use to, dig in between your teeth when you go for your cleaning or whatever. And that's all these are. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. You can get a set of 4. I've got, 2 more. But these 2 here are the ones that I use the most. There's a different end on each, on each one there's 2 different ends, and each one is a different depth or different width. Or whatever. So, and after I do my hobby knife, I come in and I'll lightly scribe with the one that doesn't have a lot of hook to it. Just enough to start taking a little plastic out, little by little. A little plastic, a little more plastic, same way, And I'll come back in with one that's got a little more pronounced hook to it, and I'll come in and do that until I get comfortable and get that depth of that panel line deep enough to where I'm not worried about coming out, of the panel and actually doing damage to the body. It's kind of a time-consuming thing, so don't do this when you have somewhere you got to be in 30 minutes or whatever. If you do that, you're going to get in a hurry and you're going to make a mistake, and you're going to mess up your body. So, but after I do that, the other things that you're going to need, which I use, is I'm going to use for my panel lines, I'm going to use the Ceramcoat Craft Acrylic, black, and water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'll just show you what I do, since like I said, my battery went dead on me, and I don't have another body that I want to do anything on the panel lines with right now. I just put a drop of paint, a couple drops in my little pan here, and I come back with some water on the other side of the pan. And you're going to need a very, very fine bristle brush, fine point brush. And you'll have to pardon me because I'm having to look over at my camera and see if you can see what I'm seeing. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm going to pull my paint over to my water. Now I've already got a big pool of it over here, but I'm going to pull my black paint over into my water until I get it the consistency of almost water, black water, or ink. I want it runny. And what I'll do is, and I wish I had a panel line that was left on here, but I do have one maybe left. Let's try one. Let's see. Wait just a minute. We have one on the bottom side here that I can use. Yeah, here we go. It's not really a panel line. It's going to be covered up with a piece of chrome anyway, I think. So, but there's a panel line. There's a little bit of a line right here that's really shouldn't be highlighted, but I'm going to highlight it anyways. I can always take it out. And where you have scribed, I didn't scribe right here, but I'm going to hope that it will work for me. Boom, there we go. See? You see that? I hope so. See the capillary action? You see how it's run over and it's met the other part? Now what I do where I have scribed, and what you have done when you scribe, is you have scratched off that shiny coating, that top coating of plastic. Once you start scraping, you're down to where, like when you sand, the plastic has become rough, and it's going to swallow up this paint. So I'll let it sit for a minute or two and see how much of it it's going to drink up, because you'll come back in 20 or 30 minutes and after you put your stuff up, if you've not put enough in there, you'll come back and this will be splotchy. There'll be white spots to where you didn't, it's drunk up what you put in there. So you want to make sure you get plenty. So I'll go back. I'll get me some more on my brush. Oops. And I'll lay my brush right back down. You can't see actually where it's going as well when you see this, don't fret. I keep a little water in the lid of my water bottle. Q-tip. Toothpick, stupid. Dab it. Come right to where you made the mistake. And just that easy. That's why I love the acrylic paints. Now, even if you didn't do that, it wouldn't be that big a deal. Your paint's going to cover it up unless you're using a real light color. So you go back in and just correct your mistake. And like I said, I've already done I've already done this part. But I want to go back and darken it just a little bit. And you probably can't see it, but I can see that where I'm laying. I lay my brush down and hold it. I can see my black paint running, and it's darkening up my panel line. Same way with the. I'll go back on my trunk. See if I've left any, like right here on this side. I have a little bit. I have just a little bit where it's not as dark as I want it. There we go. Like I said, if you get a little bit on there, these micro mark brushes are fabulous for doing this, doing these panel lines with, to clean up your mess. You just come in, whoop, whoop, and it's gone. Now you can use acrylic paint, you can use lacquer paint, you can use enamel paint for this. If you use lacquer or enamel, you're going to need to move quickly if you make a mess on your body, because unless you're going to be wanting to, especially if you've already got primer on it, you're going to have to get some lacquer thinner on there real quick, and hopefully not take any of your primer off. That's kind of what the panel lines are going to look like when you get done. Now, I didn't make them very wide because I don't want them wide. I don't want them wide. And what this will do is I'm not going to prime this car. I had to take some mold lines off here and here. I went back with some 2000 grit sandpaper, and then some 6000, and then some 12,000. Smoothed it right on up, so I'm not going to prime it. I'm going to paint it just like it is. Now what's going to happen is, when you paint this, you're going to lose, this is going to get toned down some, because some of that paint that you're going to use for your body color is going to go into that channel, and it's going to darken that, or it's going to color that channel up a little bit to where that panel line is not as pronounced. And that's what you want. You know, you want it to where you just have the hint of that shadow, but yet it's not just sticking out you, and it doesn't look like somebody took a magic mark, a black magic mark, and just went around your door frame and just, you know, drew a panel line in. Because that's what some of the models look like that I have been seeing in some of the model publications lately that I've been looking at, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this and make this tutorial. And I'll do it again with a fresh battery to where you can see the whole process, but you kind of get the gist of how it works. Just keep in mind when you're doing your door panels that you're creating a shadow. That's all you're doing. Just like when you do like rally wheels, for instance, that don't have, if you don't go to the trouble of drilling the holes out, and you're trying to create that illusion of the shadow behind the opening of where the rally wheel has the holes, you know, cut out. You're trying to create a shadow. You go in there with your black wash, you load it up, and you come back and you do your hot and take off the, you know, the black wash off the raised chrome, so that you have black in the back and your chrome in the front. It creates a shadow. That's all it does. So I wanted you to see that, and I apologize for not paying attention and having a halfway dead battery before I started doing this. But at any rate, maybe you got a little something out of that. At least if you know, if I've helped you understand kind of what the shadow effects are when it comes to doing panel line highlighting. So with that, I've ran way too long, way longer than I wanted to. So until I talk to you again, take care of one another. May God bless you and your family. See you later.